Welcome to Kaur Voices, your space to raise your voice, to talk about the pressing, hard-hitting issues that surround us, that the community often hides away from, or they're labeled taboo. This is a space that is non-judgmental and open and free for you to share your stories and your voice. We want to hear your voice. We want to know what your story is and share it on this platform. Please reach out to us at info@corevoices.org. Follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. Check out the website to stay connected with us, corevoices.org. We're here to hold this space together with you and for you, to serve you in your needs of emotional and mental wellness through the traumas, trials, and tribulations that we all experience and go through. Last week, we had a pretty hard-hitting episode which pulled at a lot of our heartstrings, raised awareness to issues that exist in front of us in plain sight, sexual violence in gurdwaras and in our communities, in our homes and in our societies. It's quite upsetting and disturbing to know that this happens in gurdwara, spaces that are supposed to be safe. We will talk more about this in the coming episodes and maybe even touch on it today. The theme for us will continue to be sexual violence. And for those of you that keep up to date with social media, you'll know that this past week celebrated or commemorated the 3rd year of the Me Too movement. If you didn't see it already, look out for the hashtag #SikhMeToo, because the movement has started. People across the world are connecting, sharing their stories, connecting through their traumas so that we can rise together as a community, and Kaur Voices has begun this initiative to become your voice. We need to be able to help victims go on that journey to become survivors. There has to be accountability. We have to seek justice where possible and appropriate, support our community, and bring some form of reform and safety into our community and our gurdwara, definitely in our gurdwara. Today's guest is based in Toronto from the Punjabi Community Health Services. And today we're going to talk more about this issue and how widespread this is. Most of us are still in denial. We're not accepting how often this happens and how close to home it can exist. We just are not aware of it. We need to raise awareness. We need to educate ourselves. And more important, we need to stand together. If you see in the comments below, you'll see the link for the survey that we're putting out. Please complete that survey so that we can actually understand where we are as a community and how much work we need to do and how we can support you in that work that is going to happen together. Join us in creating this movement for the hashtag of #SikhMeToo. We need this. We need to go through the healing of this trauma as a community, and we can only do it once we raise our voices. Today, I'd like you to help me to welcome Puneet Dhillon. She is the Communications and Research Analyst at the Punjabi Community Health Services. Puneet Dhillon received her doctorate in the field of journalism and mass communication. The key motive of her PhD research was how men's perception of women's roles change or ossify and consequently influence men's treatment of women. She served as the head of Department of Journalism and Mass Communication at the Khalsa College in India and has successfully completed various research projects pertaining to active feminism. Presently, she works as the Communications and Research Assistant at Punjabi Community Health Services in the Greater Toronto area. She's responsible for sharing knowledge generated through case studies and analytical papers and maintaining external key relations. She has also been recently awarded as Peer Champion of the Neighbours, Friends and Family campaign by Okasi, where she gathered, shared and disseminated both awareness and knowledge about resources and techniques of empowerment available for the vulnerable members of our community. That is incredible work, absolutely stunning work. And it is my absolute pleasure to have Puneet Dhillon today with us on Core Voices. Welcome, Puneet.
Hi, Jaspreet. Thank you. Thank you so much for such a warm introduction. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on the show, for doing the work that you do, and just helping to make our communities safe.
I must say that pleasure is all mine being here because this subject is very close to my heart. So whenever it comes to women empowerment and any type of denial of things to women, so it's very close to my heart. So I just jump into the show. I just become a part of it from somehow.
That's excellent. Thank you. It's not
Thanks.
easy to do. I'm fascinated by your journey because it's not often that women get to study these sorts of topics, especially in India. Can you tell us a little bit about how that was for you?
It wasn't easy for me either because when I started, even when I planned to do my PhD, so my family, they were like, why are you choosing something related to women? These type of topics, they are not something to be talked about. You should keep quiet. You can talk about these things. So choose something else. Go for another, like print journalism, go for advertising, go for management. Why are you choosing these type of topics? Do you think they need any further exploration? This is just a value about nothing. You guys are creating noise out of nothing. So my family, basically, I would say, they were very much into that. I changed my PhD topic and I have my research into some other more meaningful topic or more meaningful field. That was very funny actually at that time. Yeah.
That is incredible.
It was. Yeah.
I mean, when I say what was that like for you, I mean, in India, when you're coming forward in that space of just even as a feminist or empowering women, sometimes that can be seen quite negatively.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How were you treated in the community? Were you supported?
No, not at all. Because when we talk about women empowerment, this is something which people don't digest. Usually, they don't digest it. I'll share a very beautiful internet quotation which I just came across. I'll read it from my phone so that I make justice to the content and the one who has written it. So
Mm-hmm.
it says that patriarchy is like a man having his boot on a woman's neck. So feminism is a woman complaining about the boot. Conservatives insist that there wasn't a problem with the boot being on the neck of the woman until the woman started talking about it. And if she should just be quiet about the boot, there wouldn't be any problem about it. Male allies think there is a way to talk about the boot being on the neck that appeals to everyone and doesn't alienate those that would help remove the boot. Good guys insist that not all men wear the boot, and women with internalized misogyny insist that they have a boot on their neck by choice and they love it. They insist something wrong with women complaining about the boot, but the boot is never removed from the neck.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
so I could just feel that my whole work, it's been captured, it's been recapitulated in this one paragraph. When I read it, I was so amazed by this. Everybody, they have the problem with the boot being discussed, with the woman being complaining about the boot, but no one is actually worried about the pain which the woman is experiencing because of the boot being pressing her neck. No one is talking about that pain, and no one seems to be worried about it. No one seems to help her in removing the boot from her neck. So it's quite funny actually.
Yes, that is funny and sad all at the same time because everything you said
Yes.
is true.
Yeah.
And I mean, I love Punjab. I like to visit out there as often as I can. I mean, this year I've only been there once before COVID happened, but just even visiting there, you can see the massive gender difference.
Yes.
I can't imagine what that is like when you're trying to work there as an independent woman. And you were working at the Khalsa College. Is
Yeah.
that the one in Amritsar?
Yes.
And what were your experiences there with gender equality?
So my experiences were no different from any other woman in Punjab or in our Punjabi community. So even I could even see my young students experiencing the same thing at that time. But I don't want to talk about experiences. I want to talk about the recognition of those experiences. Like you previously mentioned, that we all are in a denial of this thing, that there is something happening which needs to be improved for women. Something wrong is happening for women. We are denying her all those rights, basic rights and other things. So we are living in a denial. So now when we have started talking about these things on these shows like yours, and there are various other community education and community engagement programs happening all around. So now the journey has started. So probably we may be able to reach from the denial to acceptance of this. So we cannot just do the damage control. We cannot just do the problem solving at this stage. First thing is that we have to come out of that denial mood. I call it like a typical if we see people who are on synthetic abuse or any other type of drug abuse around us. So the first thing which they need to recognize, which all the addiction specialists and any other people in this field would recommend, is that first you need to come out of your denial that no, I don't have this problem. And when you have recognized this, yes, this problem is existing, then we can move to the acceptance stage. And from acceptance, we can do the problem solving. It cannot be just that we are in the denial and we can do the problem solving. Because according to me, a problem well put is half solved. So now when we have started putting this problem with these shows, with the social media, with other good talk shows coming around, I think we have put the problem very well. And now we can look towards it, that it is solved in a very short time from now. So there is a hope to get it solved. Otherwise, if we are just living in a denial that there is nothing wrong with women, they are just complaining about the boot on their neck and this should be loved, the boot should be loved. So I don't want to sound very aggressive here, but let's revert it. Let's try to put the boot on the man's neck and then ask them that how painful it is. Do you want to remove it? So it should be the other way around. Let's try. Like, it's 21st century going on. We can revert it. We can put the boot on the man's neck. And, then all those anti-feminist approaches and all those, I don't want to name any campaigns. So all these things, they come into play. So now look, women have their rights. Now they are trying to exploit men. Yeah.
How interesting that would be.
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be a typical feminist, but feminist. Of course, I am a feminist, but not the one defined by those who are anti-feminist here. So it's not a theoretical portion going on that I identify myself as a feminist or a post-feminist. These are all bookish things. We need to come out. We need to come out and discuss these things. Like even if we talk about literature and these movements, I came across a Punjabi book and I was reading that. So it was by a Punjabi writer, and I will not identify her name here. So she was talking. First, she came up with a very feminist approach. ਪਤੀ ਉਹ ਭੇੜੀਆ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੀ ਦਾੜ ਥੱਲੇ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਦੇਖ ਮੈਂ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਬਾਕੀ ਮਰਦਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਬਚਾ ਕੇ ਰੱਖਿਆ ਹੈ. So that's what she wrote. And in the second chapter, she wrote it, ਸਭ ਕੁਛ ਹੈ, ਘਰ ਹੈ, ਬੱਚੇ ਹਨ, ਪਰ ਪਤੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. Now, is she confused, herself confused? We need to draw that line, that it's not that man and woman have to fight. They don't need each other. They do need each other. Man needs a woman needs a man, children need their father, they need their mother. We need to bring them on an equal platform. We need to give them a proper partnership in that. We are not talking about that women are superior to men are inferior to women, they should be punished, they should be held guilty for these things. It's not like that, but it's the other way around. It's high time that we start talking about partnership of men and women in this modern society to support the democracy, to support the progress. So let them be partners. And partners are equal.
Yes, that would be really nice. That would be very nice to
Yes, it has to be 50-50 partnership.
have.
Yes.
Mm. I'm fascinated by the title of your PhD research, which was How Men's Perception of Women's Roles Change or Ossify and Consequently Influence Men's Treatment of Women. What were your findings in that research? I mean, I'm sure it was fascinating. Could you share some of that with us?
I would love to. Whenever I get time or a platform, I am just overwhelmed with that. So, my PhD's title was Impact of Women-Centric Films in Triggering Social Change, with special focus on creating awareness and sensitizing women. So, in this one, I wanted to see how cinema has changed the portrayal of women. We keep on talking, time has changed, women protagonists have changed. So look, now women are wearing pants, they are wearing mini skirts, they are being showcased as equal to the male partner, but it still is missing. First thing which is missing is that they are still not the decision makers. Women, they are still not the decision makers in the films. If we ever see that there are many films, I can name them like Ganga Jal, those typical Akshay Kumar and Ajay Devgan type films in which they are the police officers or they are the civil servants. They have a wife, and that wife is the woman protagonist. It could be a leading star of the time. It could be the contemporary good actor, but then that woman is just placed there by purpose by the filmmaker, who also happens to be a man. So she's placed there to give a relief from that tragic and a very, very serious plot which is happening around the male actor's life. So male actor is running after the hoodlums, he's acting against those antisocial elements, but there needs to be a break in that very, very tense plot. So here comes the wife of that super cop, which happens to be the woman protagonist. So they are still not the decision makers. They may be wearing jeans, they may be wearing Western clothes, they may be talking in English, they may be shown with a very good lifestyle, but they are not the decision makers in the forefront of the family. And the second thing is a woman which we call as femme fatales. So those femme fatales are very, very fatal for people who cannot digest women empowerment. So those femme fatales are woman who wants to live her life on her own terms. She wants to take a sip of drink. Okay, go ahead. She wants to fag a cigarette. Okay, go ahead. She wants to have, or may she doesn't want to have children. Okay, go ahead. That's her choice. She wants to lose weight. She wants to gain weight. She wants to marry at this stage. That's her choice. So whenever she starts doing anything which is her choice, she becomes the vamp in the film, like typical those Bindu characters in the film. So whenever a woman defies those social template which is defined in our society, so whenever she defies that social template, what happens is by the end of the film, that woman, she is either killed by somebody, she's either divorced by her husband, she either commits suicide, she either is shown going to the depression, or she is shown in the end like a very sudri hui woman in the end, who wears a sari, who wears a salwar suit, covers her head in the end, and becomes that pativrata woman in the end. She somehow has to leave her all her basic rights, all her rights of choice, all her freedom, and surrender it to the male counterpart, because she has to fit into that template of number one, society in which she is living, number two, the society in which the film will be portrayed. Because the film which will be portrayed in cinemas, the film which will be screened around in community centers or wherever for commercial or for entertainment purpose. So who are the people who are watching the film? Male. Majority of men are watching the film. Who are making the film? 80% of filmmakers in Bollywood or Hindi cinema, they are men. Who is the most powerful person in the film? The male protagonist, who happens to be a man. So she has to deal with that triple male phenomena in that film, and then fit in that template which is set by all those three men who are either watching the film, making the film, or acting with her in that film, and then in the end become a Sudri woman. And Sati Savitri woman in the end. So this was the finding of my PhD, that whatever we do, whatever, howsoever modern we become, we can change our language, we can change our eating habits, we can change our talking language, whatever we want to change. Yes, we are changing, but what we are not changing is the status of the women in the family. We are not giving her the status of the decision maker. We are not accepting her as the partner, 50% partner of the male counterpart. And then we are scared of those fatal women who want to live life with their own choice. I just talk about an example like, okay, we all say this woman, she drinks a lot. Typically in Punjabi culture, okay, ta sharab pindi hai, ye cigarette pindi hai, ye kalli rehndi hai, changi nahi hai. So my question is that how many men drink, how many men smoke cigarettes, how many men do every other thing in the world, but they are never judged on that. Their character is never assassinated on those things. But a woman, whatever she does, she has to pay some tax to the society for doing these things. Okay, drinking, smoking. I'm not promoting anything here through the show. These are things which have something to do with your health, not with your character. So this is a huge question, that why do we character assassinate a woman if she wants to live her life her way? She wants to do it, let her do it. Why do we want her to be a typical, an ideal of sacrifice, a typical Mother India type of? Why do we want that? Why is so much expected from her? So yeah,
I agree. Everything you've said is so perfect, and that depiction of women in that role, we take it so normally, casually, and we don't realize the effect that it has psychologically, because then that is how we are judged, that is how we are seen. And I've noticed this a lot, that when a woman becomes a victim of any type of violence, any type of abuse, the first thing that's always observed is, how was she wearing her hair? What were her clothes like? Where was she? What time of day was it? Who was she with? But it's never the same questions that go to a male. And it's the subliminal layers of how the messaging has been implanted in here through the TV screen and through the information that we absorb that changes that. So that is very, very important work. And thank you for looking into that for us. I mean, I hope, is it available? Your findings, are they available anywhere for people to access?
Yes, it's available on Shodh Ganga. So all North India thesis, all university thesis, they are available on shodhganga.com. So it's available under Dr. Puneet Dhillon, and it's Impact of Women-Centric Films in Triggering Social Change. And it's done by Center of Advanced Media Studies, Punjabi University, Patiala. And my guide for that was Dr. Gurmeet Maan. And I would like to add what you said recently, Jasveer, that we start blaming women for what were they wearing when the rape happened, who were they with when the rape happened. So this is interesting to know. Do these people answer this question, that rapes were happening even before miniskirts were invented? Then why did they happen at that time? With women, they were only Indian, especially Punjabi women. So mini skirts and all these type of things, they came to India at a very later stage, especially in Punjab. I don't think they're still there in Punjab. I don't have any idea now. But they were happening even with salwar kameez. Then is there something wrong with the salwar kameez? No, there's nothing wrong with that. And then rapes were happening. Okay, why was she out of the house after 7? So are the rapes not happening if the woman is staying inside the house? Yes, they're very much happening. Then what was she doing at that particular place? So she is with her mother. She is traveling to some religious place. She is wearing a salwar kameez. She is not looking around. She is not vocal, and she's still raped. Now we have ruled out everything. We have ruled out all those expectations which they wanted. We have given it to the woman. So now she is totally perfectly 100% happening on those templates which have been set by the male patriarchy in our society. So she is totally justifying that, but she's still raped. Okay. Can that male patriarchy answer that why she's still raped? That is a huge question. Then there's something wrong with men. Can we look at that through that angle? Could it be something not wrong with the woman, but wrong with the man who has raped her?
Mm.
It's just perception. Can we change it? Maybe let's just change it for 10 years and then work on it for 10 years, coming 10 years. Let's, because I'm a researcher, so I talk like a researcher. Let's do a pilot. Let's do a pilot, a global pilot, that we start changing things with men, not with women. Let's see the results. Let's analyze the results. Let's bring out the findings.
Yes.
It could be helpful. It could be a good research. It could be a good global research.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That would be very good to do. I don't know how far we are away from that for men to be willing to participate in a 10-year
Yes.
pilot for us. It would
Yes.
really change the whole dynamic of things if we could, because you're right. Perception is everything, and women are overly sexualized, even in our community. And even though modesty is supposed to be what's encouraged, as you just very rightly pointed out, even when we are modestly dressed, wearing salwar kameez covered from head to toe, it doesn't stop abuse happening in Gurdwara. I mean, one of my sisters, Gurichanan Kaur, was on the Kaur Voices talk show in the beginning, in fact, the very first episode, and she talked about an incident where she was at Darbar Sahib, and she had an encounter of somebody inappropriately brushing past her and touching her body. And that happened when she's fully covered at the Gurdwara, about to go to do darshan. So you're absolutely right in what you said. Regardless of how we dress ourselves, it will not solve the problem until the perception in the mind of men has been transformed, because they are the ones who are looking at us as sexual objects.
Yes, definitely. And where is that perception coming from? So it's coming from the conditioning of mind of these men, when they were born. So when they are born, they have no idea about good and bad. They have no idea of self. They have no idea of man, woman, no idea. Whenever a baby is born, so gradually they get to learn about their body. Okay, so we all have seen little those infants pulling their own hair and then crying because they don't identify that this is this is something which is part of their own body, and if they pull it and it gives them the pain, so that's why they're crying. But they gradually understand this, that okay, this is myself. So they understand the concept of self, and now comes the mother, that I am your mother, I can protect you from everything, I am your father, I am your family, your grandparents, your sister, brother. Now they are the cousins, and these are good people, these are bad people, this is your home, this is your school. So we tell them everything. So when we are doing the smaller conditioning of that child who is growing up, we are also simultaneously doing those bigger level conditioning of that person, that you are the boy, boys don't cry, you can boss around your sisters, you can question them, where were they going, what were they doing, who were they talking to. This property, it belongs to you. These girls, they are nobody. We are just going to get them married off to somebody and send them away. This house is yours, this property is yours, you're the boss of the house. So here we give them that wonderful conditioning, and now they have that deep inside conditioning of their minds, and then they internalize these concepts of male toxicity and machoism and superiority complex. I am the one who's the boss of the house. So this is where it is coming from. We really need to condition our mothers. We really need to condition our sons. We need to condition our fathers. It's okay if you got a son born, it's fine. You have not done something which is very different from the world that no other woman has done. It's just a son, equal to the daughter. Why are you celebrating it like that? Why are you beating those trumpets? It's just a son. So now it's your responsibility. It's a high responsibility going forward in this 21st century. It becomes a bigger responsibility than delivering a girl, that you're delivering a boy. You need to eliminate, undo all these conditionings of the social and familial patterns. You need to undo these patterns, and then you need to put in the new patterns of equality, partnership with the women. You need to be, your homework is much more than any other woman who's delivering a baby girl. It's lots of efforts, lots of responsibility. Yeah.
Very beautifully said. That is where we need to begin.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So it's equal education, re-education of the mothers as to what sort of men are we raising, right?
Yes.
And also of the fathers to become the right sort of role model for their sons
Yes.
and their daughters, ensuring that there's equality in the household, that would definitely make a massive change. I mean, I grew up in a household with 3 brothers, and I was the one who was cooking and cleaning, and they were allowed to go out and do ash, go with their friends, and do whatever they wanted to do. But I wasn't allowed to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I wish it could have been different.
I wish it could have been the other way around. Like, what would happen if a son is doing the dishes, if he's cooking? Nothing. It's just a human being cooking for. And like, I'm amazed at those reactions when women say, "My son made tea for me. Wow." Your daughter makes it every day. You are never fascinated by that. she was not born with those
ਹੈਰਾਨੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਦੇ ਹੱਥ ਚੱਲ ਪਏ।
ਉਹ ਆਪ ਵੀ ਹੈਰਾਨ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੇਖ ਲਈ ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਚ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਅਵੱਲੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋ ਅਵੱਲਾ ਤਾਂ ਇਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ because as we say that to learn we need to unlearn. Now this has to be unlearned before we learn any type of equality, equity, whatever term we come up with, whatever new wave, feminism, post-feminism, post-feminism, whatever we come up with, we need to unlearn these things. Like, we have those control Z and control S things in computer. We need to do that, do and undo type of things, then begin with a fresh page.
Yeah. Yes, that's this is the work that we have to do. But isn't it interesting? I mean, I'm sure in your childhood you experienced this so much, and that's what brought you to where you are. Now we find humor in it because it's normalized. But in my head, I remember that my father, if my brothers were ever trying to help in the kitchen, he would stop my brothers. Give you kuriyan da kam hai. And I was like, come on, like I was 11 years old when I was making rotiyan for the whole house. So 3 brothers and my dad, like rotiyan da ਢੇਰ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਤੇ ਰੋਜ਼ coming back from school, cooking for everybody, ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣਾ homework ਕਰਕੇ ਭਾਂਡੇ ਧੋ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਸੌਣਾ, and ਕੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਂ ਦਿਨ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਨਾ ਨਾ, I'm 11 years old, ਹੈ and my brothers ਉਹ ਰੋਟੀ ਜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਆ ਕੇ ਖਾ ਕੇ ਫਿਰ ਚਲੇ ਗਏ. They didn't really care for the cleaning up part. It wasn't their job. And when the fathers come in to do what my dad did, that's what perpetuates that negativity even more. If my dad had have said to them, "Kivi vadiya hai, tusi karo, hor karo, madad karwao," it would change the mentality. So it requires parenting to be done more consciously to understand how those small things make massive impacts later on in life.
Exactly, and that's what has been happening. There are 2 things which I would like to add here, that when you're talking about your experiences, that you were making roti and doing pande and other things for the family, while your brothers, they were watching TV and hanging around. So no one cared about your choices here. You were not given a choice. You were supposed to do that. So did I. I did that too. My brother would have been watching TV and hanging out with his friends somewhere, and I would be helping my mom in the kitchen. It happens with every Punjabi household. ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ kitchen ਚਲਾ ਲਓ, ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਝ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ ਕੱਟੀ ਨਾ, ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ? ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਹੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਕ੍ਰੀਏਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ। And then nobody asks you for your consent. Consent ਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ, ਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ career choose ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ। I never wanted to do what I did. My parents, they forced me into medical stream. I never wanted to do that. Nobody listened to me. Then I had to come out. I had to step out like a rebel. मैं नहीं करना, कर लो तुसी जो करना, मैं पढ़ना ही नहीं. I don't want to be a doctor, no. And even if I can do that, I don't want to do that. Like, let alone I can do it or I can't do it, that's a different story. But even if I have that capacity, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to see the blood. I don't want to see people in pain every day. I don't want to, simple. But no one asked me for that. No one gave me that freedom to choose my career. But then finally, after that, I had to become a rebel. Until date, I have been marked as a rebel in the whole, I would say, khandan. Ye gal nahi sundi kisi. It's not that. Then look at your boys. Oh, gal sunde nahi kisi di. You never come up with any problem with your sons. All the problem is with the daughter who chose her own career. So what? ਸੋ ਬੇਸਿਕ ਡਿਨਾਇਲਸ ਇਮੇਜਿਨ ਛੋਟੀਆਂ ਔਰ ਇਹ ਡਿਨਾਇਲ ਕਿਸੇ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਦਿਨ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਚ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਡਿਨਾਇਲ ਆਫ ਚੁਆਇਸ ਤੇ ਕੰਸੈਂਟ ਕਰਕੇ ਦੇਖ ਲਓ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਹੀ ਕਲੇਸ਼ ਪੈ ਜਾਊਗਾ ਤਬਾਹੀਆਂ ਮੱਚ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਇਹ ਕਰਨ ਤੋਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ you never asked me that you want to do that ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਨੇ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਸੀ who am I
so true and ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਨਾ ਲਾਈਕ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਨ ਚ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ that is connected to ਹਨਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ how unequally I mean there've been so many amazing sisters who have been on the show and we've talked about different things but it's just the inequality how disproportionate it is boys can get married at any age girls must be pressurized and forced to marry somebody that we don't even like or know just because it's the done thing and then fir uto aage jaake it's like some women don't want children but it's expected that you are a baby making machine that is what you are designed for therefore if you are married you must have children hana and all of these expectations and je aage jaake je na tada rishta nibhya and you end up getting divorced hana then
all hell breaks all hell breaks it's same like I talked about the template the social template ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੀ excel sheets ਬਣਾਉਣੇ ਆ we this thing put it in red put this in green so template and number 1 is she ready to marry the boy of her parents choice yes no ਜੇ yes ਹੈ ਤਾਂ green ਕਰ ਦੋ no ਹੈ ਤਾਂ red ਕਰ ਦੋ so this is the basic template which society has created for women is she ready to listen to her brother is she ready to listen to her husband is she okay if husband slaps her once ਫਿਰ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਇੱਕ ਥੱਪੜ ਹੀ ਮਾਰਿਆ ਸੀ ਫਿਰ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ I mean this is the template ਤੇ ਉਹ ਮਾਰ ਕੇ ਦੇਖੇ ਫਿਰ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ let's see
yes
yeah
somebody that I know recently she got divorced and they asked her why do you want to get divorced and she said we only mere thappad marya and the response was bus that was the response that she got back that's it you got a slap and now you want to get divorced what like it's just one slap exactly what you said we should be okay with that but the people around us who are saying that to us are not realizing what is wrong with that sentence
and most of them are women who are saying that I'm sure that most of them must be women who are saying that ਫਿਰ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਸਾਡੇ ਵੀ ਤਾਂ ਪੈ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਖਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ and now these are the women who are saying that we love the boot on our neck we have it by our choice no it's not by choice it's about your priorities you don't give priority to your self-respect you don't give priority to your freedom you don't give priority to your personal satisfaction your existence your well-being you being a human being you don't consider yourself as a human being you have done something else to you god created you as an individual as a free being you did something else to this free being you totally shattered it you have destroyed God's creation no one was born with chains whether it is by the name of the husband father brother children what no one was born with those chains you created those chains around you and apne ta guruan ne bhi kiya zulm karna bhi paap hai to zulm sehna uddo vada paap hai to sahi janne ho then you are not listening to it ਹੁਣ ਜੇ ਕਈ ਦੇਖਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸੁਣਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਲੋਕ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿਣਗੇ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ now they are the same people who are saying ਕੋਈ ਬੂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ so different type of people with different type of opinions and then problem solving ਤੇ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਸੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸੁਣੋ ਤਾਂ ਸਹੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ denial ਤੋਂ acceptance ਤੇ ਤਾਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਓ ਆਪਾਂ ਫਿਰ problem solve ਕਰਾਂਗੇ we can't solve the problem right now like this
I agree this is the reason that we had to create Kaur Voices ਹਨਾ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ ਲੰਘ ਚੁੱਕੇ ਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੁੱਪ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੁੱਪ ਕਰਕੇ ਸਹੀ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੈ ਦੁੱਖ
ਜੀ
ਕਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਸਦੀਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਬਿਮਾਰੀਆਂ ਚੱਲੀਆਂ ਆ ਰਹੀਆਂ that has ਹੱਦ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਆ
exactly
and it's time for us to call this out ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਚੁੱਪ ਤੋੜਨ ਦਾ ਮੌਕਾ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਆਪਣਾ basically ਕਿ ਵੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਸਹੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਹੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਗਲਤ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਗਲਤ ਹੀ ਆ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾਊਗਾ ਅੱਜ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ
exactly
there's amazing people like yourselves doing that work ਤੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਇਹੀ ਹੈ ਇਸ ਉਪਰਾਲੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੌਲੀ ਜਾਗਰੂਕਤੀ ਲਿਆਈਏ ਇਸ ਵਿਸ਼ੇ ਤੇ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਬੇਇਨਸਾਫੀਆਂ ਹੋ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਸੁਧਾਰ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ
ਜੀ
and it's so important to have the support. The first step is awareness. Having this show is a space for us to create awareness and talk about these things, that this is happening now, not 20 years ago, not 100 years ago. This is happening now.
Now.
And can you tell me more about the work that you do at the PCHS, and how many different types of abuse victims do you encounter in that work?
So we have our family enhancement program, under which comes domestic violence. So in that program, we have a different type of clients who come up with their all types of stories and their experiences. So most of them, they are physical abuse by the husband, sometimes even sexual abuse by the husband or by the intimate partner or whosoever. And what is unique about these clients, that they all want to get back to that relationship. They all want that relationship to work, to be fixed.
Oh my gosh.
They are so scared to step out of it. They are so scared to get rid of it. They want it to work. And this is amazing. This is not wrong. But these people, they should know that to what extent a woman goes to fix that relationship. And it's amazing.
Mutual effort. I mean, it is amazing. But my first response when you were saying that, I was shaking my head because everything inside me was saying no.
Yes, definitely. I agree.
Hannah, is that it's Stockholm syndrome, that we are attached to the abuser.
Exactly.
We are confused by society's expectations, our parents' expectations. Men can go off and remarry, but apparently women can't. Hannah? Then you're done. Your expiry date that mentality has to change. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't work to resolve difficulties in a relationship, but if it's abusive and the person who is inflicting the abuse is not reforming, then you are in a dangerous situation. It's more than toxic. Huh?
Yes.
It's finding the right balance, and it's not about judging. Everybody has their own situations.
Yeah.
But personally, like, I find it very difficult to sit back and do nothing when you know that somebody's being hurt or somebody's life, mentally or emotionally or even physically, is in harm. And that's what happens in domestic violence, which is normal in Punjabi spaces, right?
Yeah. So this is very amazing. Like we said that these type of phenomena, they're also happening with women who have internalized this type of abuse. They think that, okay, fine, it's fine to be abused. And then they are somehow also emotionally attached to the abuser. Even if they're set free, they keep on missing that abuser for some time. If they don't have that proper counseling, if they are not connected to the proper resources. So these women, they suffer a lot. It keeps on hanging around their neck all the time. So it's very scary.
What are the statistics, or what is the information in the area where you work on sexual violence? Is that something you're aware of?
So sexual violence is something which, yes, definitely we do come across such problems. Mostly, but what we experience is that sexual violence is from somebody who is known to the victim. So it happens. And mostly in our culture, women don't even report these type of cases. There have been a few cases in Brampton where this type of sexual abuse, it was created by the father, it was created by the immediate family member of that victim. But then it took a while or even very long for the victim to come up and report that issue even to their mothers. And there was one case, I don't want to identify the person, so she said that I told my mother that this is what my father is doing to me. Oh. But my mom said, okay, now keep quiet. Sadi besti na karwai baare galla karke. So mother di izzat ejit si we father jo marji kari jawe, but the daughter should keep quiet and not bring this issue. And what could be the mental stage of that child? Jinu mother ne support nahi kita. And who is the abuser? The father in the house. We look up for everything. Like we go to that person. And that was, I was left speechless. Even if today after I talk about, I have goosebumps. Even if today I talk about that case. This is the situation with our community.
So in the work that I do with Core Voices and also with so I work as a therapist with Sikh
Mhm.
music, and
Mhm.
I've encountered a lot of different incidents within our community, in the Punjabi community,
Mhm.
where the the perpetrator is the father and the
Mhm.
mother hasn't supported the daughter.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm like, I see those faces of the victims in front of me right now as you were speaking.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's not isolated. It's not just a one-off that, there's one, people say, oh, there's one bad apple. It's not everybody's the same.
Yes.
That's irrelevant in this situation for me. I mean, it's not about apples. It's about human life
Yeah.
and abuse. And when a father is abusing his own daughter,
Mhm.
you know, that is disgusting.
Yeah.
That is wrong. And for the victim to come forward and actually ask for support
Yeah.
and to be rejected that support and be told to
Yes.
zip it because
Mhm.
it's going to bring shame to the family.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me so angry,
It
so
does.
angry.
Yeah.
ਇੱਕ ਪਾਸਿਓਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਅਖਾਉਣਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਹਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਹਾਂ, ਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਸ਼ਰਧਾ
Mhm.
ਭਾਵਨਾ ਵਾਲੇ ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ।
Mhm.
ਪਰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਇੰਨਾ ਵੱਡਾ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਚੁੱਪ ਰਹੋ,
जी.
ਬੋਲਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ। That doesn't correlate. That's not
Mhm.
justified. We can't claim that we walk on a path of righteousness to do the right thing and we follow the teachings of the gurus, but at the same time, we turn our eye away. We turn a blind eye to this, oh my God, these atrocities that happen, you know?
Yeah.
As you can see, I'm very passionate about this and it really,
I could
really
see that.
makes
I
me
could
very
see that.
angry
Yeah. Yeah. I could
because
see
it's too
that.
common. It's happening everywhere. And the problem is that men don't know because women talk amongst women.
Yeah.
Women don't talk to men because men are the ones that do this to women in the Sikh
Yes.
community.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
how do we get this information that we're aware of as females in the Punjabi and Sikh community? How do we
Mhm.
take that information to the men in the community?
So I think when we have started talking about these things, when we have accepted this, yes, this gap is there in the information, or this gap is there in the awareness, enlightenment, or whatever we say. So that's the first thing. Now, when we have put the problem in bold letters, so we have done half of the job. So we have this problem, and now we have to work around that problem. We can use all type of media which are available. We can use all type of community resources which are available. Unique to every country. So, for example, we can use social media, we can use our television, songs, everybody, and even those public figures who are well respected and youth, they are very inclined to listen to their messages. We can use them as platforms. So there should be very heavy campaigns, and it's the need of the hour. We can be late in that. We're already very late.
I agree that we are late to the party. This is what we're trying to do in the Core Voices space here.
Yeah.
We've launched a survey that we're trying to gather information in the Punjabi and Sikh community on sexual
Mhm.
violence so that we can quantify and understand how vast and deep rooted the issue is. Um,
Mhm.
and we've also, in this past week, kicked off the hashtag of Sikh Me Too,
Mhm.
hoping
Yeah.
that there'll be solidarity from other organizations and from the community to actually help us to unveil and unearth this problem. Um, do you have any suggestions as to, in the future, if we lived in an ideal world, or how to get to that ideal world to resolve and prevent these sorts of incidents?
I think awareness. Awareness is the only thing by which we undo what is existing and redo what we want to do. So this could only happen with awareness. ਚਾਨਣ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ, like ਉਹਨਾਂ enlightenment ਕਰਨਾ, because most of the women ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਅਸੀਂ abuse 'ਚ ਰਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. Most of the men ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ ਕਿਸੇ ਦਾ ਫੋਨ ਚੈੱਕ ਕਰਨਾ, ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ privacy 'ਚ intrude ਕਰਨਾ, it's an abuse. So ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਵੀ am I abusing and am I living with an abuser? am I abusing the other person? ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਦੇਖਣੀਆਂ ਪੈਣਗੀਆਂ, ਪੈਰਾਮੀਟਰਸ ਦੇਖਣੇ ਪੈਣਗੇ, ਗਾਈਡਲਾਈਨਸ ਦੇਖਣੀਆਂ ਪੈਣਗੀਆਂ, ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਪਰਸਨਲ ਸਪੇਸ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਫਰੀडम ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਸੇ ਦੀ ਚੋਇਸ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕੰਸੈਂਟ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ, ਐਂਡ men and women need to be treated as equal partners to each other. Then we can think about any type of change or any type of other utopian situation coming into place. This is the first step. Yeah.
Thank you, Puneet, and I'm excited for Kaur Voices to work alongside ECHS to address this issue in the community, and hopefully we can get to that point where we eliminate the problem at some stage. I would love to be at that point together to make our community safe again.
Yes, together we can.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Would you like to leave our listeners with a closing message before we end our show today?
I think we had messages coming at every 5 minutes of the show, but my only message is that when we talk about women, talk about them with respect. If she's in a trouble and she is discussing something with you, she's trusting you. You don't need to make a song about her. Trust them, support them. This is very important for women and men as well. It's no one else's duty, but every individual's duty to help them.
Thank you, Puneet. Such a beautiful message. And I hope that everybody who's tuning in today takes away a lot from today's episode. So much valuable and amazing information, Puneet, that you shared with us. I'm so grateful for you to have been here in the Kaur Voices community. I'd love to have you back so that we can carry on and talk more about your amazing work.
I will look forward to come back, Jasveer. Yeah.
Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for tuning in to Kaur Voices.
Thank you, Jasveer. Thank you for having me.